guys, welcome and thanks for joining our presentation. So today we are going to hit the muscles of the back as well as the rotator cuff. So this is a little skewed just because what we've done is, well, we haven't done this, the muscles of the deep back have been cut out so that you can see where the spine is. So sitting in here, we would have what are called your erector spinae, that group. They come in groups of 3 on either side. We would have sitting most medial, we would have our spinalis here, moving into the middle, longissimus, and then iliocostalis. So one way I like to remember them is using the mnemonic, moving from lateral to medial, is I like spaghetti. And like I said, I'm going to ruin a lot of foods for you in here. Maggie's smiling behind the camera. The next one that we'll look at, we're going to pull in this guy as well. Most superficially, we're going to see the trapezius run in here. Okay, it's going to run all the way from the base of the skull down to about the level of T12. It'll come out and actually attach onto the acromion process of the shoulder. Okay. As we go more inferior, this is still going to be on that superficial layer. This is going to be our latissimus dorsi. So if you guys follow it from the vertebral column all the way out, you'll notice that it actually attaches up onto the medial side of the humerus. Okay? So this is what we call like the wings. So if you see people who are walking around the gym like this, it's called imaginary lat syndrome or imaginary wing syndrome. It's usually bodybuilders who think that their lats are bigger than they are. So they usually can put their arms down, they just don't want to. Okay? Below these two, so this side, these guys have been removed here. We can see what's called serratus posterior inferior. Okay, so these are similar to and look like the serratus anterior. We'll have one here, and then we can't really see it on this side, but it would be deep to these muscles here. It would be serratus posterior superior. Now, both of these are going to be used in forced breathing, meaning I'm being chased from that rabid corgi down the street. I want to get my lungs open and closed as quickly as possible. They're not being used in what would be considered quiet breathing, which is what I'm doing right now. What we can also see on this side, we're going to have our rhomboids here. Minor is going to sit on top or more superior. This will run from the spinous processes of C7 to T1, and then below that we have rhomboid major, which is going to attach onto the spinous processes of T2 to T5, both coming off that medial border of the scapula here, right? Even more superior to that, coming off this superior angle here, is going to be our levator scapulae, okay? That'll run up and attach onto the transverse processes of C1 to C4, and so that's responsible for exactly what it sounds like. It's going to elevate the scapula. Okay. Now, I'm only giving you some of the information, but you can find all of that on the muscle charts that we've provided for you. Keep in mind when you're studying, those muscle charts I've simplified for our class. All right, so they might not match up perfectly to the book or say other internet resources that you are utilizing. I've done that on purpose. So this is our scapula here, which is the technical term for our shoulder blade. This would be the spine of the scapula right here. Above that spine is going to be our supraspinatus muscle. This is one of our rotator cuff muscles that's used to stabilize the shoulder. All right. Below that spine, we're going to have our infraspinatus. All right. This little guy here is going to be teres minor. And then we can't see it, but on the front side of the shoulder blade, we're going to have what's called subscapularis. Now, all 4 of these are going to come together. They're all going to attach onto the head of the humerus in various spots to help create more stability in the shoulder joint. So with the shoulder as opposed to the hip, we have lots of range of motion, but we lose our stability. Whereas in the hip, we have lots of stability, but limited range of motion. So this is why, for example, in the shoulder, baseball players, tennis players, volleyball players have lots of shoulder injuries, well, football as well, due to like the overhead rotation and movement throughout their sports. Also, we'll see teres major that's going to sit just inferior to teres minor. Teres major is also nicknamed Lat's little helper. So if you'll notice, here is the latissimus dorsi, here's teres major. So it will help perform very similar actions to the latissimus dorsi.